Hey. So, every once in a while, I don't know why I do it to myself, but I check in on the mainstream media. See what's happening back in the West. Like I say, I don't know why I do this, because every single time I just get so frustrated by what I see. I've just stumbled across a story which has been actually put on the news over here of some football fans, Chelsea fans I think, being racist toward someone trying to board a train. So this has made me want to talk about racism, because you'd be surprised how often I do come across racism through social media, through just ignorant comments, and I can't stand it, naturally, given the children I work with are African children. You know, they're not white. I'm the only white man here, so, and they're not racist towards me. So when I see racism elsewhere, I can't stand it. So for those who I see this mentality gathered around sport, arena sports, yeah, football and stuff. And these people, they stand in large groups and they chant racist comments, or they become aggressive in this large group that they've got. And they have no idea how unbelievably weak a human being they are. Because arena sports were designed by those among the human race who had evolved to understand how to control the minions, the weak, the populace, which would keep them elevated at the top of society, and those minions at the bottom, keeping them in the good quality of life. And it began long ago, and it's just basically transformed itself now. So it began with gladiatorial, a way to distract your minions from the terrible quality of life they're having. Well, a way to distract your populace from not having as good a quality of life as what is available to them, keeping them entertained and distracted from that, from the fact that these elite are a tiny minority of people and they have everything, and those below them still carry on obeying their systems because they don't have time to think about it, because they're too distracted within the systems. So in ancient Egyptian times was the introduction of alcohol to slaves. They give them alcohol once a week, and then slowly they introduce the idea of letting them earn something to buy the alcohol. So you've got two things going on. You've got arena sports, purely designed to control those that are weak, the weak-minded, the ones who don't understand, yeah? The ones who have no idea about what is going on around them because they need distracting. Now, I'm not saying everyone who watches football is a bad person, but that's where it comes from. In Victorian times, there were no stadiums because it wasn't befitting of a man who came of age to waste his time with children's sports. As the Industrial Revolution went on and we had the world wars, things began to change, and the power structure on your planet changed. And people don't see it. So these men who are being racist, standing in large groups, are ultimately the weakest in society, because they're the ones who fell for the trap and live a subservient life, whilst others live an abundant life off the back of their lack, basically. The sad thing about that is that there's then lack elsewhere for them to live their lack, which is just ridiculous. And I know a lot of you out there think that that's just not right, but it's true. That's how it's designed. It's designed that way. And it's based on tribal psychology as well. So you need to educate yourself to know this stuff. But the concept is, to control a populace, you need to give them a tribal feeling. Something they belong to, like a football team where they all wear the same colours, chant and cheer. and ignorantly get drunk and then become racist and do nothing for society, do nothing for humanity other than distract themselves. Some people live for this. These people. Everyone knows someone who lives for that. And I'm not saying you're a bad person, but when I see groups of them getting together and getting so riled up that they become racist towards an individual, I can't stand it. And I like people to know how pathetic it looks to those among you who are educated and understand how the world works. So what else goes on in racism? Islam is a big problem at the moment for people, it seems. I am sick of that. Like I said the other day, someone was saying Islam's a cult and it's evil. And I was like, so obviously Hitler was Islamic then. Oh no, he was Christian. Okay, so the problem's religion, or is the problem a human problem? It's a human problem. And I hear people using terms like they, them, our, as if they're not, as if these humans who happen to have been born inside one set of imaginary lines while you were born inside another set of imaginary lines had some sort of say in which imaginary lines they were born in. And those patriotic ones from England and places, they're the ones I see, the patriotic from England, who are like, yeah, this is our country. If that is your only achievement in life, that you were born inside an imaginary line and you had no control over being born there or manifesting in consciousness within a body that was going to be in there, then you haven't really done much with your life, yeah? It's just stupid. Oh, this is my country. Why? It's a planet. You share a planet with many people. And your imaginary lines are there for the elite. The elite draw your imaginary lines so they can stay in control. And it's just a fact, yeah? And I know everyone will be like, well, but hold on, we have governments, we have monarchy, It's absolute nonsense. And again, the educated among us know. It doesn't take much. The world is run by societies. Secret societies, which people go, oh, it's a conspiracy. If it's a conspiracy, watch JFK's final speech. 2 weeks later, he's assassinated after he outed the secret societies and asked for help to stop them. So, the world is not run by a government, a monarchy. Countries are not run like that. It's run by secret societies, and they have things in place so they can stay in power and in control and have the most affluent of lives for the rest of their generations to come. And things they have in place are alcohol, media. All the media is theirs pretty much. Newspapers, TV's the lot, yeah? Arena sports is their design. They mapped the countries that you live in. They wanted you to be distracted. Arena sports is another one. Then you've got wars, and everyone says, oh, well, Islam are pretty bad. They've done all these horrible things. And you go, they have, I agree, a minority of Islamic people, not Islam as an entity, as if Islam, the religion, is some entity that keeps doing these things. A minority of Islamic people have done something bad. Same as a minority of Christian people have done stuff bad. Hindu, Buddhists, even now Buddhists, who are the most peaceful religion on the planet, are committing genocide in Burma. So it's a human problem, it's not a religious problem. But at the moment, the ISIS problem boils down to one thing: the masses' ignorance over the societies I just mentioned. These societies want power. Power lies in resources, oil, things of this nature. They've bombed the life out of the Middle East for years and years. And now you've got men and women who are angry, who have lost children, who have lost wives, husbands, mothers, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles in our bombing campaigns, which we only did. Okay, we did to protect ourselves from terrorist attacks. Really? You still believe that? It's ridiculous, How easy it is to attack your own minions, your own populace, and then use that populace to go to war against the people who have the resources that you want. Secret societies run the world. And terrorism is another tool to run the world, ultimately. And you can't sit back and not realise that every world leader and person that spoke about them has been assassinated or brought out of power. All of them. You know, it always happens, including one of our own leaders, JFK, the President of America, stood tall and brave and said, there's a ruthless, monolithic, secret society ruling the planet, and I need your help to stop them. And they killed him. And everyone was so distracted with everything, the rat race that they're caught in, this designed system, that they don't see this stuff right in front of them. And all you've got to do is take a deep breath, get still, and start reading and looking beyond the TV and the mainstream media. So yeah, don't be racist because of the media. Don't be racist saying, oh, you know, this Islamic problem that we have, it's nonsense. If the Middle East had bombed the life out of England and killed most of our friends and family, or at least one of us had someone killed, and we knew that they were doing it to get our resources, but the public of the Middle East didn't know that, do you imagine how frustrating it would be? And that's the position we find ourselves in. I'm going to switch my light on. So yeah, and that is, like I say, the position we find ourselves in. So something this one kills me. I've had so many people say to me, why do they, and I hate that, but they do use that term, they, meaning the African people, the Tanzanians, why do they breed? Why don't they stop breeding if there's not enough resources to feed the children? And I think that, well, I know that, entertaining attitudes like that, why people like Hitler were around. Literally. That was his thought. They shouldn't be allowed to breed. It's pathetic. Why doesn't the West bring down its quality of life and eliminate material trinkets to entertain them, as if they've got this, you know, this birthright to entertainment? Instead of looking after each other, they demand entertainment. Why don't you reduce that? Reduce the entertainment. And then instead of asking someone not to breed, asking someone not to have the most fundamental of human rights, why don't you give them that right? Balance, yeah? Balance. People are so pathetic. So, they don't see it. So yeah, why do people breed in third world countries? Because it's their birthright as a human to do so. People fall in love, people have children. That's what happens in human story, yeah? Why do other parts of the world live so above the means that the world has to offer them that other people should suffer? And why do they live in such a bog of material stuff that they even dream of such thoughts, you know, that other people should not be allowed to breed on their planet just because they happen to have been born inside the imaginary lines elsewhere to the imaginary lines you were accidentally born into. And it, you know, if you know how it was that you came to incarnate within the West, then and you worked hard to do that, then by all means you have a right to say that. But the problem is nobody knows how it is that they come to be a living entity within the West. No one knows how they incarnate. No one can choose where your consciousness is going to manifest itself. Yeah. Sometimes it will manifest itself in India, Africa, wherever, England, America. You just don't know. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So that's my finish on racism. I'm bored of the West and its pathetic ideas. I'm bored of seeing groups of men who think that they're so big and tough, but they wouldn't dare step out of their own country and come and speak what it is that they dare speak back home behind closed doors. None of them would stand in the middle of Tanzania and voice those racist comments. A group of them wouldn't do it even. Because they're cowards. Either that or they're just ignorant, uneducated, and believing the TV. So yeah, it's my thoughts on racism. Pathetic. And I always stand by that. That's actually, I stand by that on every ism there ever will be. Sexism, racism, and even the one that hasn't come to light yet, which is speciesism. That's for another day. Okay. So, I had to get off my chest, because yet again, I was just sick of seeing white people letting the side down. And you know what it is as well? I know it's the minority, and this is the other problem I mentioned, that these societies, they control the media. So they put this stuff out there. They don't put good news out there. Yeah, they put the stuff out there that's going to cause a stir, that's going to cause problems, and more importantly, that's going to cause divide. Because a divided populace is a controllable populace. Yeah. I think that's just how it is. It always has been. It's the same power structure throughout history. It's just now they do it from the shadows. And if you don't believe that, message me, because I can show it to you within an hour. If you've got the intelligence to accept, first of all, if you have the maturity to accept that you've been fed the wrong worldview, and secondly, if you've got the intelligence to sit and read a little. The problem is, it's easier to bullshit people than to convince them that they've been bullshitted. So people hang on to it. No. Well, yes, that's how it is. You're being manipulated, you're being controlled by the way society is designed. So stop falling for it. Step away from the mainstream media and start thinking for yourselves. Step out of the routines that you've been given. The choices you've been given, like arena sports, alcoholic weekends. Out of all this different stimulants and drugs on the planet, they give you alcohol. Why that one? Why not a different one? So it's ridiculous. So you've got to learn to think for yourself and to stop following what they're trying to get you to follow with the mainstream media and with sport and the way of life offered to you. And you've got to use critical thinking. You've got to ask why. You can't just believe that everything is as it is that comes through the tube on your TV screen. It's the most awesome propaganda force ever known to mankind. It's mind control. TV programming programs the mind. And if you don't believe it is, if you don't believe it's that serious that you need to switch off the TV and think for yourself, if it doesn't program your mind, work out if what you watch on TV at night you discuss the next day. And if you do discuss it the next day at work with your friends, then work out if someone wants to have you discuss something, do they not then just choose the program? And then the next day you'll go and discuss it. It's a sad fact of life. Switch it off, think for yourselves, and wake up to reality. Wake up to the world you live in. Wake up to the fact that people are trying to control you using your five senses, using sex and using psychology, very cleverly thought through psychology. Tribal psychology is one of them that I mentioned earlier, where you get men to believe in women to feel part of a tribe, part of a unionship in amongst something that doesn't mean or do anything. Yeah, and it just creates divide, actually, which is ultimately perfect for anyone who wants to lead, is to divide its people. So. Okay. Well, don't know where that come from, but I'm glad it's out anyway. Right, see you later, guys. Bye.